Okay. Did Indy blow their chance, bro?
I don't like to talk about they choked or they blew it.
You love it?
Because that's, no. But that's the talk. They blew it. Here's how I look at it. It's similar to the Knicks, right, when they were in the series with Indiana. Everybody's saying, oh, obviously, if they had gone up 3-1, they have control of the series, look like they're going to win it. But let's not forget, they won a game they shouldn't have won. They had no business winning game one. They did. Now you lost the game that you rightly should have won. Okay. So it's evened out. So it's 2-2. So that's where I think this thing stands. And I think that's how Indiana and Pacers fans should look at it. Don't look at it like, oh, we blew it, we had a chance. I get it. You did get the game one that you shouldn't have. But this just kind of evens things out, and now it's 2-2. As far as blowing their chance to win the series, obviously OKC has the advantage, 2 of the 3 games at home. But Indiana has shown that they can win on the road. They are 7-3 in these playoffs on the road, same as their home record. And they've already proven, of course, they can beat Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City. They were 3-0 against Cleveland in Cleveland, and Cleveland had the second best record, a game behind OKC at home this regular season. So with that said,
wow.
You guys know I spoke at a church this weekend, and there's a story in the Bible about the prodigal son who left home to go out and frolic in the muck and the mire, and then he returns home. That's me! Indiana, forgive me. I repent for leaving you, abandoning you, and I am back, baby. Naptown! I am changing. Naptown! I'm going with the Pacers now.
Okay, so this is a lot to digest.
It is.
First, we also got a glimpse of King Brou, which I really like.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you.
They lost.
This is exactly what I did.
Well, that's the only way. And first of all, look, I'm giving up, like, what's the
years.
term? Well,
upper hand.
Right, yeah, the upper hand on Nick. I could always throw it in his face. He switched picks right in the middle of the finals. I'm switching picks.
Yeah.
But I'm just going with my
heart.
heart. Yeah. I mean, look,
okay.
I still think OKC has. I'm going with the Pacers. I'm going back and forth during the game. I'm pulling for my pick, which is OKC. You want to be right? But I'm pulling for my team, the Pacers, because I'm from there. And, and so it's just too much.
But you
so
really believe the Pacers
I do think
can
they have
win.
a chance.
Yes.
I won't be shocked if OKC wins. I mean, obviously they have the upper hand. But I do think they're evenly matched. Yeah. I think after 4 games, and maybe it's just the matchup. We've seen that throughout these playoffs. Matchups or styles make fights. Right. But I do think they have a great chance to win it.
Great.
And I got to say this. Naptown! Oh, it feels good.
This is fantastic.
It feels good to say it 100%.
2 weeks ago, but overall,
this is where we
should
been.
Now, are you switching?
2 weeks ago.
Well, I want to see the first half of tonight. After the first half of tonight, if switching is on the board, I'm open to it. Thunder. They get some easy buckets and play great defense.
So the news obviously is Brou going back to where his heart was, and I respect that.
Congratulations. Welcome back.
I feel like a weight is.
There is narratively for the audience. It's a little awkward for me now to go back to the original question, but may I?
Sure, of course.
So I think Brou, when we were playing the Halliburton sound, Brou thought I was scoffing at him saying the way the cookie crumbles because it was like such a kind of trite or charming, corny way to say something. Yeah. That's not why I had the look on my face. I did. But I was reacting to it. My reaction was maybe he's just a great actor, but he should be way more devastated than he was because I think they blew their chance at a championship. And I think everyone's focus I shouldn't say everyone. The game happened Friday. It's Monday, so it's not like there's been a ton of talk about it. But in the podcasts or commentary I've consumed, understandably, people are talking about either officiating or the final few minutes. I think the final few minutes of the third quarter is the moment the Pacers had the opportunity and they squandered it. They went up 10, and then they had 4 straight possessions where the Thunder had not scored. 4 possessions in a row, up 10, with the Thunder, in my opinion, in a little bit of disarray. And where they were not, it didn't have their bearings and seemed shaky. And Shai, at that moment, was not having a great game. Shai wasn't like he was brutal, but he was. I had said on Friday's show I thought Shai would have closer to 40 than to 30, and late in the third quarter that looked like it was dead off. Now he ended up exploding in the fourth, particularly late in the fourth. But up 10, few minutes left in the third. T.J. McConnell missed jumper on an ugly possession. Next possession, after they get a stop, Obi Toppin gets fouled. Misses both free throws. Next 2 possessions are both kind of ugly possessions where they don't, it's not just like guys missed, but it was back-to-back Siakam misses off not a lot of, Pacers-y possessions. The Thunder defense kind of regained itself for a moment. And all of a sudden, instead of going into the fourth quarter up 14, you're going into the fourth quarter up 7, which left the door open. And to me, that was the moment. And then Shai, the 3 he hit to cut it from 4 to 1 when they had only made 2 threes all game. In that moment, we talk about this a lot, like if you stop time, who would your pick have been? That whole game, obviously going into the game, I thought the Thunder were going to win. But midway through the second quarter, I was like, oh, my God, the Pacers are about to go up 2-1 in the finals. I was checking.
3-1.
Or 3-1 in the finals, pardon me. I was checking DraftKings to see, when will DraftKings finally believe in the Pacers? And the answer was never. The Thunder were the favorites to win the championship headed into the fourth quarter of this game. They were down 2-1 in the series, down 7. And it was when Shai hit that 3 that I was like, okay, I think the Thunder are going to complete the comeback. I agree with Brou, and I even wrote this down. This series being 2-2 is fair. It feels like there is a game Oklahoma City dominated, a game Indiana dominated. That's games 2 and 3, and then a game the wrong team won. That's games 1 and 4. But the series should be 2-2. My problem for Indiana is if you don't win the game, the Thunder hit 3 threes. If you don't win the game that you are leading for almost the entirety of, how are you going to find 2 more wins? So I do think, sadly, the Pacers blew their chance at a title.
So, Brou, you kind of referenced this graphic, so now that the Thunder have home court advantage. The Pacers are 7-3 at home, 7-3 on the road. The offensive rating is literally exactly 116.1. Three-point percentage is a little bit better on the road. Halliburton's field goal percentage, a little bit better on the road.
A lot better, yeah.
Yeah. That being said, I need more from Halliburton. I'm waiting for this 30-point game. We got 18. He was 1 for 7 from 3. It just feels like people trying to convince me, like, he's doing a lot out there that's not showing up. I'm like, granted, I would also like to see some stuff that is showing up. I'm a raw stats guy. You know what? I like 30 points. I just like not like 18 and some sneaky great plays.
I was talking because a lot of people were saying that, and I was talking with some people this weekend about it, and I said, look, and I get it, he can explode for that type of game, but I said it's like asking, like they were saying, I need 30 from him, 25 at least. That's like asking Steve Nash or John Stockton to go out there and get your 30 points. That's not their game. Now, he'll do it occasionally, but that is not what I measure a great Halliburton game by. And I get it. He was just pretty good.
Fine.
He didn't control it. But they were up. I mean, let's face it. Yes, they were leading and looked like they were going to win the game.
But that also might be one of the reasons why Steve Nash never came that close to winning a title. Like, Stockton's different because the guy
Nash
who
did have guys. Both of them had a bona fide number one scorer.
And Stockton had one of the greatest, just reliable scorers ever. Yep. So you needed to ask it of him less, I suppose. But and this is a point I kind of made in passing last week, but Brou really liked it. Whenever I say something that I didn't plan to say, but then I say it and Bru's like, that's really good. I'm like, oh, that must be really good. And it's just, man, it's so hard if your best player is not a bucket getter to win 4 rounds. And so you look at the greatest true point guards ever, Jason Kidd got close a couple times. Stockton got close a couple times, even though he had Karl Malone. You mentioned Nash. Isaiah Thomas had the #1 defense in basketball, and, by the way, was, in my opinion, the best natural scorer of that group of guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he just
He
held his own scoring back.
That could do both.
Magic is Magic, and also was 6'8", and had Kareem. There's a lot. It's really, really hard. With all that said, when Halliburton had 14 points midway through the fourth, the Pacers were in firm control of the game, and so it was working. The guy who I keyed on before the series, that I said, man, if the Pacers pull off what was going to be a shocking upset,
and
he's going to have a huge game, has gone the other way, which is Miles Turner.
Yeah.
Not only have we not gotten what I said they needed, which was like the 28-point Miles Turner game, instead, game 4, there were a bunch of times the ball ended up in Miles Turner's hands, pretty good look, chance to either stem momentum or turn momentum, and they were bad misses.
Exactly.
They weren't like, oh man, that rimmed out. It was like, did that miss left?
Yeah.
Was it? So
Right.
those.
That's what I mean. You mentioned OKC winning with 3 3-pointers. Indiana didn't shoot great from 3 either. They were 30%, 31%.
Yeah.
They only made
11 to
11.
36.
But so that was a problem too. And it almost, like you pointed out late in the third quarter.
Yeah.
It almost, and I'm not going to accuse them of this because they are clearly a clutch team, but you're going to lose, you're not going to win every game in the clutch. But it almost looked like they relaxed, like they felt, we got this. You know what I mean? And so the things you mentioned, the missed free throws killed them. Like, even though I don't think, I don't look at it as a choke job, but you mentioned Toppin's 2 misses, Benedict Mathurin, who saved them in game 3, or was the star. He missed 3 or 4 free throws with 24 seconds left.
When with 23.9 left, he gets fouled going for a loose ball. They're down 4.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, make them both. You're going to be able to play tough defense for 10 seconds or so and then foul. He missed them both, and that was a disaster.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the ball, SGA had his minutes staggered, which freed him up to cook in the fourth. 15 of his 35 came in the last 5 minutes of the game. He also scored 15 of the Thunder's last 16 points. Okay, what did SGA prove?
I mean, that's the signature game and the signature moments of his career, and probably will be in 10 years. Like, it's going to be hard to top that if they win this championship. And bouncing around the internet is first guy either ever or at least since Jordan to, in the fourth quarter of a finals game, have 15 points while also going at least 8 of 8 from the free throw line. And that was the finals game Jordan did that was his final game as a Bull. And he even did kind of his own version of a Michael Jordan impersonation on the shot to take the lead. You got the nice little push off. No, I'm not even being.
Also a travel.
It's actually not a travel technically. Not technically a travel, but it is. And by the way, this isn't me doing a shot at Jordan. Those. No,
I mean, look,
no,
Jordan
those are great plays.
There's no doubt.
Right, and he pushed off too. And he pushed off too.
I mean, it is
but
what
those
it
are
is.
great plays that you usually get away with, particularly if you're the league MVP. And there are a lot of the better team, Brou, down 2-1 in a series. And we can probably stop playing this. Signature moments from the star across NBA history and in recent history, where it's like, our season is on the line. We are supposed to win this series or very often this finals. Can I come through? Steph, 2022. Down 2-1 to Boston. What some people consider the greatest game of Steph's career. 43 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, even the series. Giannis down 2-1 to Phoenix. Had a good game. He had 26, 14, and 8. But that was the game where up 2 with a minute left, he blocked Ayton. The sick block on Ayton. Like the Jordan down 2-1 to the Knicks. Right after the hole, he was in Atlantic City gambling, had the bad game 3 they won anyway.
Right.
54.
Game
54 while they're going, that was in a conference finals, not NBA finals, going for a three-peat. So Shai understood the gravity of the moment and stepped up in a night where he was just fine, where he wasn't great. Right. And people can get annoyed with it. I get annoyed with the flopping much more than I get annoyed with the creating fouls. But his ability to foul Neesmith out, that's why Mathurin was in. Mathurin came in for Neesmith because Neesmith had fouled out on the Shai when Shai felt the hand on his shoulder and went up.
I just hate that call.
I hate it too, but
lame.
But it's also history doesn't remember. The falling down I think is lame. The feeling that Dwayne Wade's signature career accomplishment was the 06 finals.
I know, I hated it.
Where he
Everybody feels like that
where he got to the line 20 times a game off that exact stuff. I feel contact, I'm going to go up. So fair is fair. I mean, so that's my takeaway.
Yeah, look, he proved he's the truth. I mean, period. Because we've seen all-time great players shrink in the moment. And it looked like, oh, man, they're going to lose this game, and then they're going to be down 3-1. He's, like you said, he was fine. He wasn't playing poorly, but he really stepped up. And you mentioned a three-pointer earlier. He scored, you mentioned 15 points in the fourth quarter, 8 of 8 from the line. He had 11 points in the last 3.5 minutes.
Yep.
And that had never been done. And it started, I think we're going to see this 3. This is when it was what, I can't remember.
103.99.
Yeah, and they cut it to 2 to 1. Right, they cut it to a point. That's when I thought the Thunder are going to win this game.
That's what I said, yep.
Right, once he hit that 3, because I was wondering how Shai going to respond in this moment. And when he hit that, I said, okay, this guy is dialed in, and that's when I thought they had the game. But here's the other thing. He had energy in the fourth.
Yep.
People are talking about he had no assists, which even as a 2 guard, you should be able to get an assist or 2 or 3 or whatever. But that's a big part of why he didn't have the assist, because he was off the ball. And Jalen Williams was initiating the offense, and they did that to rest Shai, because bringing the ball up the 40 minutes against pressure, like Nembhard is really in his jock, you know, and that will wear you down. So by them taking him off the ball, just making him a scorer, you don't have to worry about running the offense. That gave him the energy he needed down the stretch, and you saw the difference. So, yeah.
All that being said, though, you don't believe in them.
I do believe in them, but not town! Man, it feels good.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.